Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm excited to have you here today. We'll be exploring the topic of improvement in food RESOURCES. This is a crucial subject that touches on how we can better meet the needs of our growing population. Over the course of this presentation, we'll look at the challenges, innovations, and strategies that are shaping the future of food resources worldwide. Let's get started. Let's take a quick overview of the contents for today's discussion. We'll start with the sources of food, which is fundamental to understanding how we meet our nutritional needs. Then, we'll explore why improving crop varieties is so essential, especially in the context of increasing food security. Moving forward, we'll look at crop yields, which directly relate to productivity and efficiency in farming. Next, we'll examine the 3 stages of farming. These are the core activities that make up the entire agricultural process. After that, we'll talk about crop production management, which involves the strategies and practices to optimize farm output. We'll also discuss cropping patterns, how different crops are arranged and rotated to maximize land use. Furthermore, we'll cover the factors that drive improvements in agriculture. These could be technological, environmental, or socioeconomic factors. We'll look into animal husbandry, which is an integral part of integrated farming systems. Then, we'll focus on nutrient management, highlighting the importance of proper fertilization and soil health. Finally, we'll wrap up with crop variety improvement again, emphasizing how genetic advancements help us adapt to changing conditions and improve resilience. All these topics are interconnected and essential for understanding how we can sustainably increase food production to feed a growing population. Let's take a closer look at the sources of food. When we think about where our food comes from, it's important to recognize that there are several key sources. These include agricultural production, which covers crops and livestock raised specifically for food. Then, we have fisheries and aquaculture, which provide seafood from wild catches and farmed fish. Additionally, there are processed foods, which come from raw ingredients that undergo manufacturing and transformation. Understanding these sources helps us appreciate the complexity of our food system and highlights the importance of sustainable practices across all these areas. This connection to sustainability and responsible management ties back to the overall theme of ensuring food security and promoting health for everyone. Let's take a look at plant-based sources of nutrition. When we talk about these, we're referring to food grains, cereals, vegetables, and fruits. These are fundamental components of a balanced diet and provide essential nutrients that our bodies need. Food grains and cereals are rich in carbohydrates, which give us energy to carry out daily activities. Vegetables and fruits, on the other hand, are packed with vitamins, minerals, and fiber, all of which support overall health and help prevent various diseases. Incorporating a variety of these plant-based foods into our diet not only ensures we get a broad spectrum of nutrients, but also aligns with health-conscious and sustainable eating habits. This point ties into our overall theme of promoting healthier lifestyles through better dietary choices. When we talk about animal-based sources of nutrition, we're referring to foods like meat, eggs, and dairy products. These are rich sources of high-quality protein, which is essential for building and repairing tissues in our bodies. Meat, for example, provides important nutrients like iron and zinc, which are crucial for immune function and energy levels. Eggs are incredibly nutrient-dense and contain a good balance of proteins and healthy fats. Dairy products, such as milk, cheese, and yogurt, are excellent sources of calcium and vitamin D, supporting strong bones and teeth. It's important to recognize that these foods play a significant role in many diets around the world, but they also come with considerations regarding sustainability and health. As we explore different nutritional sources, understanding the benefits and potential impacts of animal-based foods helps us make more informed choices. In the context of the overall theme, these sources highlight how animal products contribute to our nutritional needs, but also invite us to think about balancing our diets and considering alternative options when appropriate. So why is it important to focus on improvement? Well, first off, continuous improvement helps us stay competitive in a constantly changing environment. When we aim to enhance our processes or skills, we're not just reacting to changes, we're proactively shaping our success. It also boosts efficiency, meaning we can do more with less effort and resources. Plus, it fosters innovation. By always looking for better ways, we encourage creative thinking within our teams. Ultimately, improving consistently aligns with our overall goal of growth and excellence, ensuring we don't fall behind and can meet the evolving needs of our clients and stakeholders. Why to improve? India is a very populous country. Our population is more than 1.3 billion people and is still growing. As we need food for this growing population, we will soon require more than 250 million tons of grain every year. India is already intensively cultivated. Therefore, it is necessary to increase our production efficiency, not just for crops, but also for livestock. Improving efficiency is key to meeting the increasing food demand, while making sure our resources are used sustainably. This is essential to support our future growth and to ensure food security for all. So, why do we need to improve our agricultural practices? Let's start by looking at the Green Revolution, which began in the 1960s. It was spearheaded by M.S. Swaminathan, a visionary scientist who aimed to boost food production. This revolution introduced high-yielding variety seeds, or HYV seeds, which significantly increased crop yields. Along with that, it involved the use of tractors to mechanize farming, better irrigation facilities to ensure water supply, and the use of pesticides and fertilizers to protect crops and enhance growth. All these advancements helped us produce more food and reduce hunger. Moving on to the White Revolution, which started in the 1970s under the leadership of Dr. Tribhuvan Das Patel. This revolution was all about milk production. It led to a more efficient and effective way of using resources, which resulted in an increase in milk availability. Essentially, it transformed India into one of the largest producers of milk, improving nutrition and dairy farming practices across the country. Both these revolutions are critical because they show how technological and scientific advancements can dramatically improve agriculture. They are core examples of how innovation aligns with our broader goal of sustainable development and food security. So, by continuing to improve in these areas, we can ensure a better future for our farmers and our population as a whole. Now, let's turn our attention to crop yields. As we all know, crop yields are a critical factor in global food security and economic stability. When we talk about crop yields, we're referring to the amount of crop produced per unit of land, which can vary significantly based on numerous factors. These include climate conditions, farming practices, and technological advancements. It's important to understand that increasing crop yields isn't just about producing more food. It's about doing so sustainably. Higher yields can help meet the growing demand due to population growth, but they also need to be achieved without depleting resources or harming the environment. Throughout this presentation, we've seen how innovations and sustainable practices are essential in boosting yields while maintaining ecological balance. This balance is key to ensuring long-term food security and supporting our overall theme of sustainable development. Let's take a look at crop yield, which is essentially a measure of how much agricultural produce we harvest from a given area of land. It's an important indicator of productivity and helps us understand how efficiently we're using our resources. Now, moving on to the different types of nutrients we get from crops, starting with carbohydrates. These are primarily found in staples like wheat, rice, maize, millets such as bajra and sorghum, also known as chara. Carbohydrates are our main source of energy, so these crops are vital for nutrition. Next, we have fats, which come from crops like soybean, groundnut, sesame, also called till, castor, mustard, linseed or algae, and sunflower. Fats are essential for various bodily functions, including energy storage and cell structure. Then there's protein, which is crucial for growth and repair. Common sources include gram, also called chana, peas or madder, black gram or urad, green gram or mung, pigeon pea, known as arhar, and lentils like masoor. These are especially important in vegetarian diets. Finally, we have vitamins and minerals, which are abundant in vegetables, spices, and fruits. These micronutrients are vital for maintaining good health, boosting the immune system, and preventing deficiencies. Connecting all these points, it's clear that diverse crops provide a range of essential nutrients that support both our health and agricultural productivity. Understanding crop yields and the nutrients they supply helps us appreciate the importance of sustainable farming practices and nutritional security. Fodder crops are a really important part of agricultural systems, especially when it comes to feeding livestock. These crops are specifically grown mainly for animal consumption rather than for human food. You might be familiar with some common examples like berseem, oats, or Sudan grass. Each of these plays a vital role in providing nutritious feed to animals, helping ensure their health and productivity. Throughout our discussion on sustainable farming practices, understanding fodder crops highlights how diverse crop choices can support not just crop production, but also livestock needs. By integrating these crops effectively, farmers can create a more balanced and resilient agricultural system. Let's talk about climatic conditions and how they influence crop growth. Different crops actually require specific climatic conditions, including temperature and photoperiods, to grow properly and complete their life cycle. Photoperiod, or the duration of sunlight or day length, plays a crucial role here. For example, some crops need longer days, while others thrive in shorter daylight hours. Now, focusing on India, it's quite remarkable to see that from 1952 to 2010, food grain production increased 4 times. What's even more interesting is that this significant growth happened with only a 25% increase in cultivable land area. This highlights how improving climatic adaptability, agricultural practices, and technology has helped us boost productivity without expanding the land we use. So, understanding these climatic factors is essential because they directly impact how and when crops can be cultivated, ultimately shaping our overall agricultural success. Let's talk about the Rabi season, which is essentially the winter cropping season. It starts around November and continues up to April. During this time, farmers focus on growing crops suited to the cooler months. Some of the main Rabi crops include wheat, which is a staple food in many households, as well as gram, peas, mustard, and linseed. These crops are typically sown in the cooler months and harvested in the spring. Understanding the Rabi season is important because it highlights how farmers plan their cropping calendar around seasonal changes to optimize yields. It also shows the diversity of crops that can be cultivated during this period, contributing significantly to food security and the economy. Let's talk about the Kharif season, which is also known as the rainy season. It begins around June and lasts until October. During this period, the climate is suitable for growing certain crops that thrive in the monsoon rains. Some of the main Kharif crops include paddy, which is rice, soybean, pigeon pea, also called arhar, maize, cotton, green gram, or mung, and black gram. These crops are specially adapted to the rainy season, relying on the monsoon rains for their growth. Understanding these crops and their growing season is essential because it helps us plan agricultural activities effectively, ensuring good yield and proper resource management. This season is crucial for farmers because it determines the success of their harvests and impacts the overall agricultural economy. Let's take a closer look at the 3 stages of farming. First, we have the planning and preparation stage, where farmers decide what to plant, prepare the soil, and gather necessary resources. This stage is crucial because it sets the foundation for a successful crop or livestock cycle. Next comes the active cultivation and nurturing phase, where planting, watering, fertilizing, and caring for the plants or animals happen. This is where the daily effort really makes a difference in the health and yield of the farm. Finally, we have the harvesting and post-harvest stage, which involves collecting the mature crops or products, processing, and preparing them for market or storage. Understanding these stages helps us see how each part is interconnected and essential to sustainable and efficient farming. This overall process aligns with the broader theme of optimizing agricultural practices for better productivity and environmental stewardship. Now, let's take a look at the 3 key stages of farming that are essential for successful crop production. First, we have crop variety improvement. This is all about selecting the best seeds for planting, choosing varieties that are more productive, resilient, and suited to our specific environmental conditions. It's the foundation that sets the stage for a good harvest. Next is crop production improvement. Once we've selected the right seeds, nurturing those plants becomes crucial. This involves proper care, watering, fertilizing, and managing growth to ensure the crops develop strong and healthy. Finally, crop protection management is vital. It's about safeguarding our crops from pests, diseases, and other threats that could cause loss. Protecting both the growing plants and the harvested crops helps us maximize yields and maintain quality throughout the farming process. Together, these 3 stages, variety choice, nurturing, and protection, form a comprehensive approach that ties into the overall theme of sustainable and efficient farming. They highlight how careful planning and management at each step can lead to better productivity and food security. Let's talk about crop variety improvement. This is a crucial aspect of our overall goal to enhance agricultural productivity and sustainability. By developing new and better crop varieties, we can achieve higher yields, improve resistance to pests and diseases, and adapt to changing environmental conditions. This process involves selecting and breeding plants with desirable traits to meet specific needs, whether it's drought tolerance, nutritional content, or growth speed. It's an ongoing effort that combines traditional breeding techniques with modern biotechnology. Ultimately, crop variety improvement helps ensure food security and supports the resilience of our farming systems in the face of global challenges. Let's talk about crop variety improvement. This strategy really hinges on finding a crop variety that can deliver a good yield, which is obviously a key goal in agriculture. One effective way to enhance crop characteristics is through hybridization. Essentially, hybridization involves crossing different varieties to combine desirable traits. By doing this, we can develop new crop varieties that not only produce higher yields, but also have other beneficial qualities. This approach is an important part of our overall effort to improve crop productivity and resilience, making sure we meet the growing food demands efficiently. Let's talk about hybridization. Essentially, this refers to crossing between genetically dissimilar plants to produce a hybrid, which can often result in plants with desirable traits from both parents. One common type of crossing is called intervariational hybridization, where we cross different varieties of the same species. This process is important because it allows us to combine specific qualities, like disease resistance or higher yield, by carefully selecting the parent plants. Throughout this presentation, we've been emphasizing how genetic improvements drive crop productivity and resilience. Hybridization fits right into that theme because it's a powerful tool for creating better plant varieties through deliberate crossing. Interspecific crossing refers to the process of crossing between different species, but importantly, these species are within the same genus. This means we're working with closely related species, which often have similar characteristics, but also some distinct differences. The key idea here is that by crossing species within the same genus, we can potentially combine desirable traits from each, which can be very useful in plant or animal breeding. This approach is particularly important because it allows us to introduce new genetic variation into a population, helping to improve traits like disease resistance, yield, or adaptability. Throughout this presentation, we've been discussing how genetic diversity and breeding techniques can enhance crop and livestock productivity. Interspecific crossing fits into this bigger picture because it's one way to harness the natural diversity within related species to meet our agricultural goals. So the main takeaway is that interspecific crossing is a strategic tool. By crossing species within the same genus, we can open up new possibilities for developing improved varieties or breeds that are better suited to our needs. Now, let's talk about intergeneric crossing. This is a fascinating area where we cross plants from different genera. Essentially, we're taking species that are not closely related within the same genus and attempting to hybridize them. This process can be quite challenging because of the genetic differences, but it also opens up exciting possibilities for developing new plant varieties with desirable traits. The key point here is that intergeneric crossing pushes the boundaries of traditional breeding. It allows us to combine characteristics from quite diverse plants, which can be incredibly useful in agricultural and horticultural improvement. Connecting this to the overall theme, understanding intergeneric crossing broadens our perspective on plant genetics and breeding strategies. It shows us how innovative approaches can lead to breakthroughs in creating plants better suited to our needs. Now, let's take a closer look at the factors for which improvement is typically pursued. Essentially, these are the key areas where we focus our efforts to enhance performance, efficiency, or quality. By identifying these factors, we can target specific aspects that will make a meaningful difference. It's important to understand that each of these areas plays a vital role in achieving our overall goals. When we improve in these key points, it not only boosts individual components, but also contributes to the larger picture of success. So, throughout this process, we're constantly analyzing and refining these factors to drive continuous improvement across the board. Let's talk about the factors for which improvements are made to enhance crop production. First, there's the goal of achieving higher yield. The idea here is to increase the productivity of the crop per acre, so farmers can get more out of the same amount of land. Next, we focus on biotic and abiotic resistance. Crops can suffer from biotic stresses like diseases, pests, insects, and nematodes, as well as abiotic stresses such as drought, salinity, waterlogging, heat, cold, and frost. Developing varieties that are resistant to these stresses can significantly improve crop production and stability. Another important aspect is wider adaptability. By developing varieties that can thrive under different environmental conditions, we can help stabilize production across various regions. Essentially, one variety can be grown in multiple areas with diverse climatic conditions, making farming more flexible and reliable. We also aim to improve the quality of crop products. Different crops have different quality parameters, like baking quality in wheat, protein content in pulses, oil quality in oilseeds, or preservation quality in fruits and vegetables. Improving these qualities adds value and meets consumer needs better. Changing the maturity duration is another key factor. Shorter crop durations from sowing to harvesting make the variety more economical. Plus, it allows farmers to grow multiple crops in a year, increasing overall productivity and reducing costs. Finally, desirable agronomic characteristics play a vital role. For example, tallness and profuse branching are desirable in fodder crops, providing more biomass. Conversely, dwarfness in cereals is preferred because it helps reduce nutrient consumption, making the crops more efficient. All these factors, higher yield, resistance, adaptability, quality, maturity duration, and specific traits, are interconnected and contribute to making crop production more sustainable, profitable, and resilient. Let's talk about crop production management. This is a crucial part of ensuring our crops are healthy and yield the best possible results. It involves planning and implementing practices that optimize growth, such as selecting the right crop varieties, timing of planting, and proper irrigation. Additionally, managing soil health through techniques like fertilization and crop rotation plays a vital role. Pest and disease control are also key components, requiring integrated strategies to minimize losses while maintaining environmental sustainability. Remember, effective crop management directly ties into the overall goal of sustainable agriculture and food security. By carefully managing every stage of production, we can improve efficiency and ensure better outcomes for both farmers and the environment. Let's talk about crop production management in India. Essentially, it's the financial conditions of farmers that determine what kind of farming practices and technologies they can adopt. When farmers have better financial resources, they tend to invest more in their farms, which often leads to higher yields. There's a clear link between the level of inputs a farmer can afford and the productivity they achieve. This means that a farmer's ability to purchase inputs directly influences the cropping systems and production methods they choose. As a result, Production practices can vary widely. Some farmers might practice no-cost methods, relying on natural processes or traditional techniques. Others might use low-cost inputs, and some may invest heavily in high-cost production practices to maximize output. Understanding this spectrum is important because it highlights how economic capacity shapes farming practices and ultimately impacts agricultural productivity across different regions. It also underscores the importance of financial support and access to resources in improving crop yields and sustainability. Let's talk about nutrient management, which is a crucial aspect of sustainable agriculture. Proper nutrient management ensures that crops receive the right amount of nutrients at the right time, optimizing growth and yield. It also helps minimize environmental impacts like nutrient runoff and pollution. Effective nutrient management involves understanding the nutrient needs of specific crops, soil testing to determine existing nutrient levels, and applying fertilizers accordingly. This tailored approach prevents overapplication, saving costs and protecting the environment. Remember, balancing nutrient inputs and outputs is key to maintaining soil health over time. By managing nutrients wisely, we support not only crop productivity, but also long-term sustainability of our farming systems. This ties directly into our overall goal of sustainable, efficient, and environmentally friendly agriculture. Nutrients are essential for plant growth, and they are supplied through air, water, and soil. Among these nutrients, some are needed in large amounts, and we call them macronutrients. Others are required in much smaller quantities, which is why we refer to them as micronutrients. It's important to understand that both types play vital roles in maintaining healthy plants. When plants are deficient in these nutrients, it can seriously impact their physiological processes. This includes their ability to reproduce, grow properly, and even defend themselves against diseases. So, managing nutrients effectively is key to ensuring healthy, productive plants and is a fundamental part of overall plant health and crop management. Manure contains large quantities of organic matter, which is really important for the soil, and it also supplies small amounts of nutrients. It's prepared through the natural decomposition of animal excreta and plant waste. The organic matter in manure plays a crucial role in improving soil structure and increasing fertility. For example, in sandy soils, manure helps boost the water-holding capacity, making it more capable of retaining moisture. In contrast, in clayey soils, the organic matter helps improve drainage and prevents waterlogging. Using manure is not just about fertilizing. It's about recycling biological waste material, which is a big advantage for protecting our environment. It reduces the need for chemical fertilizers and promotes sustainable farming practices. Overall, manure is a natural, eco-friendly way to enrich our soil while also managing farm waste responsibly. Let's talk about compost and vermicompost. Composting is a natural process where farm waste materials, such as livestock excreta like cow dung, vegetable waste, sewage waste, straw, and even weeds that have been eradicated, are decomposed in specially prepared pits. This process transforms these wastes into a rich, nutritious soil amendment. It's a crucial part of sustainable farming because it recycles waste into something valuable for our crops. Now, an interesting and more efficient method is vermicomposting, which involves using earthworms to speed up the decomposition process. These earthworms break down the plant and animal refuse more quickly and thoroughly, producing high-quality compost. So, vermicompost is essentially compost made with the help of earthworms, and it's known for being especially rich in nutrients. Both compost and vermicompost are vital tools in organic farming and waste management, helping us reduce waste and improve soil health. They align perfectly with the overall goal of promoting sustainable, eco-friendly agricultural practices. Green manure is a fascinating technique in sustainable farming. It involves growing a crop specifically to be plowed back into the soil. The main goal here is to enrich the soil naturally, especially in nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus, which are essential for healthy plant growth. Examples of such crops include sun hemp and guar. Once these crops have grown, they are mulched by plowing them into the soil. This process not only adds valuable nutrients, but also improves soil structure and fertility over time. This method aligns perfectly with the overall theme of sustainable agriculture, as it reduces the need for chemical fertilizers and promotes healthier soil. So, by using green manure, farmers can maintain and even enhance soil health in an eco-friendly way, supporting long-term crop productivity. Fertilizadores, OC, los nutrientes producidos comercialmente para las plantas, son fundamentals para nuestro cultivo. Estos fertilizantes aportan principalmente tres elementos clave: nitrogeno, fosforo y potasio. Cada uno cumple una función esencial en el crecimiento vegetal, ayudando a que las plantas tengan un desarrollo vigoroso y saludable. Por eso, el uso de fertilizantes es un factor importante cuando buscamos obtener mayores rendimientos, especialmente en agricultura de alto costo, donde la inversión en insumos puede marcar la diferencia. Pero, ojo, aplicar fertilizantes no es solo esparcirlo por la tierra. Es muy importante hacerlo con cuidado, en la cantidad correcta, en el momento adecuado y siguiendo todas las precauciones antes y después de su aplicación. Por ejemplo, si aplicamos demasiado fertilizante y luego irrigamos en exceso, ese fertilizante puede lavarse antes de que las plantas puedan absorberlo, perdiéndose en el proceso y causando desperdicio. Además, si usamos fertilizantes de manera continua en un mismo lugar sin descansar, podemos dañar la fertilidad del suelo, afectando la salud a largo plazo de nuestro terreno. En resumen, los fertilizantes son una herramienta poderosa para mejorar los rendimientos, pero su uso correcto y responsable es clave para mantener la fertilidad del suelo y garantizar una producción sostenible y efficient. Let's talk about organic farming. Essentially, it's a farming system that aims to minimize or even eliminate the use of chemicals like chemical fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides. Instead, it relies on natural inputs such as organic manures and recycled farm wastes, like straw and livestock excreta, to nourish the soil. A key aspect of organic farming is the use of bioagents. These are natural plant protectants. For example, farmers might cultivate blue-green algae to produce biofertilizers or use neem leaves and turmeric as natural biopesticides. These methods help protect crops and store grains without relying on harmful chemicals. Overall, organic farming promotes healthy cropping systems that work in harmony with nature, supporting sustainable agriculture and environmental health. This approach aligns with our broader goal of promoting sustainable and eco-friendly farming practices. Let's talk about irrigation, which is essentially the process of applying controlled amounts of water to land to help crops grow. In India, most agriculture relies heavily on the timely arrival of monsoons and enough rainfall to sustain crops. When monsoons are poor or irregular, it often leads to crop failures, which can have a big impact on farmers and the economy. That's why ensuring crops get the right amount of water at the right stages of their growth is so important. It can actually increase crop yields and make farming more reliable. To do this, farmers use different kinds of irrigation systems, such as wells, canals, rivers, and tanks, each suited to different land and water availability conditions. Overall, effective irrigation is a key part of managing water resources and boosting agricultural productivity, especially in a country like India, where agriculture plays such a vital role. Wells are a crucial part of our water supply system, and there are mainly two types we need to understand: dug wells and tube wells. Dug wells are typically shallow. Water is collected from water-bearing layers of soil and rocks close to the surface. These are often manually dug and are quite traditional. On the other hand, tube wells go deeper and tap into underground water sources from much lower strata. They are usually equipped with pumps that help lift the water to the surface, making irrigation much more efficient, especially in areas where surface water is scarce. Recognizing the difference between these wells helps us appreciate how water is extracted and utilized for agriculture and other needs. This understanding is essential as we think about sustainable water management and ensuring a reliable water supply for the future. Let's talk about canals. These are typically quite elaborate and extensive irrigation systems designed to efficiently distribute water across large areas. They usually receive water from one or more reservoirs or directly from rivers, serving as the main channels that supply water to the fields. The main canal often branches out into smaller branch canals, which then further divide into distributaries. These distributaries are essential because they ensure the water reaches every corner of the farmland. This system highlights how sophisticated water management can support agriculture on a large scale, fitting into the bigger picture of optimizing irrigation and ensuring crop productivity. Let's talk about river lift systems. In areas where canal flow isn't sufficient or becomes irregular, often because of inadequate reservoir releases, these lift systems become a more practical solution. Essentially, when the canal can't reliably supply water, we turn directly to the rivers. Water is drawn straight from the river itself to meet irrigation needs. This approach is particularly effective in regions close to the rivers, where lifting water directly from the river makes more sense economically and operationally. It ties into our overall theme of using efficient, context-specific water management techniques to ensure reliable irrigation, especially in challenging conditions. Tanks are small storage reservoirs that play a crucial role in managing water runoff. They are designed to intercept and store the excess water from smaller catchment areas, especially during heavy rainfalls. By capturing this runoff, tanks help prevent flooding and reduce the burden on larger drainage systems. They're an essential part of integrated water management because they provide localized storage, which can be used later or slowly released to avoid overwhelming downstream systems. In the context of overall water conservation and flood control strategies, tanks are a simple yet effective solution to manage smaller catchment areas efficiently. Let's talk about some fresh initiatives to boost the water available for agriculture. One key approach is rainwater harvesting, which involves collecting and storing rainwater for later use. Alongside this, watershed management plays a crucial role, especially when it comes to the proper distribution of water across different areas. A practical example of this is building check dams, which are small dams constructed across streams or gullies. These check dams help in trapping rainwater, preventing it from flowing away too quickly. This not only increases groundwater levels over time, but also helps in maintaining a steady water supply for farming needs. Additionally, check dams play an important role in reducing soil erosion. When rainwater flows rapidly over land, it can wash away topsoil, which is vital for healthy crops. By slowing down the water flow, these structures protect the soil and improve land productivity. Overall, these initiatives are vital steps towards sustainable water management, ensuring that more water is available for agriculture while also protecting our land and resources. Let's now take a closer look at cropping patterns. Cropping pattern essentially refers to the layout or arrangement of different crops grown in a particular area over a season. It's a crucial aspect because it influences not just the productivity of the land, but also its sustainability. When we talk about cropping patterns, we're considering factors like crop rotation, the proportion of area allocated to various crops, and the timing of planting and harvesting. Understanding these patterns helps us optimize land use, improve yield, and maintain soil health. For instance, shifting from monoculture to diversified cropping can reduce pests and diseases and improve soil fertility. This is especially important in the context of sustainable agriculture, where the goal is to balance productivity with environmental health. In the broader scope of our presentation, analyzing cropping patterns allows us to see how farmers adapt to climatic conditions, market demands, and resource availability. It's about understanding what works best for a given region and how we can encourage best practices for better yield and sustainability. Mixed cropping is a technique where we grow 2 or more crops at the same time on the same piece of land. For example, you might see wheat grown alongside gram or wheat with mustard. Another common combination is groundnut with sunflower. The main idea here is to diversify what we plant in the same area. This approach helps reduce risk because if one crop fails due to weather, pests, or other issues, the other crops can still survive and provide some income. It's like having a safety net, giving farmers some insurance against crop failure. Overall, mixed cropping not only helps manage risks, but also makes better use of the land and resources. It's an important strategy in sustainable farming, especially in challenging environments. Intercropping is an interesting technique where we grow 2 or more crops at the same time on the same piece of land, following a specific pattern. For example, you might see soybean combined with maize, oats paired with finger millet, or bajra grown alongside cowpeas. The key here is selecting crops that have different nutrient needs. By doing this, we can make the best use of the nutrients available in the soil, ensuring that no nutrients go to waste. Another important benefit of intercropping is that it helps in managing pests and diseases. Since different crops are grown together, it becomes harder for pests or diseases to spread throughout the entire field, unlike when you grow just one crop. This method not only improves nutrient efficiency, but also acts as a natural pest control, making the overall farming process more sustainable. In the context of our overall discussion on efficient farming practices, intercropping stands out as a smart strategy to maximize productivity while maintaining a healthy and balanced ecosystem. Let's talk about crop rotation. This is a farming practice where different crops are grown on the same piece of land in a planned sequence. The idea is to vary the crops you plant over time, which helps maintain the health of the soil. Now, when deciding which crop to plant next, factors like moisture availability and irrigation facilities play a crucial role. They influence your choice to ensure the crops grow well. If crop rotation is done properly, it can actually allow you to grow 2 or even 3 different crops within a year, leading to good harvests. This not only maximizes land use, but also improves soil fertility and reduces pest and disease problems. So, in the bigger picture of sustainable farming, crop rotation is a key technique to increase productivity while maintaining the health of our land. Crop protection management is a crucial part of ensuring a good harvest. You see, field crops often face threats from a variety of weeds, insects, pests, and diseases. If we don't control weeds and pests at the right time, they can cause significant damage to our crops. Let's focus on weeds for a moment. Weeds are essentially unwanted plants that grow in our cultivated fields. Some common examples include xanthium, which is often called gakru, parthenium or gajar gaz, and Cyperinus rotundus, known as motho. These weeds are not just unwanted, they compete directly with our crops for essential resources like food, space, and light. Because of this competition, weeds absorb nutrients that our crops need to grow, which can stunt the crop's development and reduce overall yield. That's why removing weeds is so important. It's a key step in protecting our crops and ensuring a good harvest. In the bigger picture, effective crop protection management helps us maintain healthy, productive fields. It's all about timely intervention to keep our crops safe and maximize our yields. Insect pests attack plants in several ways, and understanding these can help us better manage their impact. First, some pests cut into the roots, stems, or leaves, causing physical damage that can weaken the plant. Second, there are pests that suck the cell sap. Think of this as draining the plant's fluids from small cavities. This weakens the plant further and can transmit diseases. Third, some insects bore into stems and fruits, causing internal damage that's often harder to detect but equally harmful. Now, moving on to plant diseases. These are caused by pathogens like bacteria, fungi, and viruses. What's important to remember is that these pathogens can be present almost anywhere: soil, water, and even the air. So managing disease involves controlling these sources as well. To combat weeds, insects, and diseases, we have various methods. Pesticides are commonly used. They include herbicides for weeds, insecticides for pests, and fungicides for fungi. These chemicals are applied directly to crops, seeds, or soil. But it's crucial to use them responsibly, because overuse can be toxic to plants, animals, and the environment, leading to pollution. We also use mechanical methods like physically removing weeds, which can be very effective. Preventive strategies are equally important, preparing the seed bed properly, sowing crops at the right time, intercropping different plants, and practicing crop rotation. All these help reduce pest and weed problems naturally. Additionally, using resistant crop varieties and summer plowing, deep plowing during summer, are techniques that help destroy weeds and pests before they become a bigger issue. Connecting all these methods to our overall goal, it's about balancing effective control measures while minimizing environmental impact, ensuring sustainable crop production. When it comes to storing grains, there are several factors that can lead to losses, and understanding these is key to effective management. These losses can be caused by biotic factors, like insects, rodents, fungi, mites, and bacteria, which can directly damage the grains. Additionally, abiotic factors, such as inappropriate moisture levels and temperature, also play a significant role in degrading the stored produce. These issues don't just affect the appearance of the grains. They cause real problems like loss of weight, deterioration in quality, and poor germinability, which is the grain's ability to sprout and grow. Discoloration and spoilage can also make the produce less attractive and harder to sell, impacting marketability. To prevent these losses, we need to take proactive measures. First, cleaning the crop thoroughly before storage helps remove dirt and pests. Proper drying is crucial. Sun drying initially, followed by shade drying to reduce moisture content, which is essential because high moisture encourages mold and pest growth. Fumigation, or using chemical smoke, is another effective method. It can kill pests that may have infested the grains, ensuring the stored produce remains safe and of good quality. By controlling these factors, we can significantly reduce storage losses, maintain the quality of our grains, and ensure they stay market-ready. This ties back to our overall goal of improving post-harvest handling and storage practices for better productivity and profitability. Now let's talk about animal husbandry. This is a crucial aspect of sustainable agriculture and food security. Essentially, it involves the management and care of farm animals like cattle, sheep, goats, and poultry. The key points here include proper breeding practices, nutrition, health management, and overall animal welfare. By focusing on these areas, we ensure that animals are healthy, productive, and raised ethically. This not only improves the quality and safety of the products we consume, such as meat, milk, and eggs, but also supports the livelihoods of farmers and rural communities. When we connect this to the overall theme of sustainable development, responsible animal husbandry plays a vital role in balancing economic growth with environmental conservation and social responsibility. So, understanding and implementing good animal husbandry practices is essential for a resilient and sustainable food system. Animal husbandry is all about the scientific management of our farm animals, and it covers a lot of important areas like feeding, breeding, and controlling diseases. When we talk about animal husbandry, we're referring to livestock like cattle, goats, sheep, poultry, and even fish farming. As our population grows, the demand for milk, eggs, and meat naturally increases, which makes efficient livestock management even more critical. Another key point is that there's a growing awareness about humane treatment of animals. This has led to new guidelines and limitations in how we farm and care for our livestock, ensuring that their welfare is prioritized. Specifically, we have different sectors within animal husbandry. Cattle farming remains a major source of milk and meat. Fish production, including marine and inland fisheries, is also expanding to meet the rising demand. Poultry farming, which includes egg and broiler production, is increasingly important as a quick source of protein. And then there's beekeeping, or apiculture, which not only provides honey but also supports pollination and biodiversity. All these aspects connect back to the broader goal of improving food security and sustainable farming practices, ensuring we meet the nutritional needs of our growing population responsibly. Cattle farming serves two main purposes that are quite vital in our agricultural system. Firstly, it provides us with milk, which is a staple in many diets, and secondly, it offers draft labor, which includes activities like tilling the soil, irrigation, and carting. These functions highlight how cattle are integrated into our farming practices, supporting both food production and labor needs. In India, we have two different species of cattle. One is Bos indicus, commonly known as cows, and the other is Bos bubalis, which are buffaloes. Each of these species has unique qualities that make them suitable for particular purposes in our agricultural landscape. When we talk about milk production, the females that produce milk are called milch animals. Their milk production is closely linked to their lactation period. That is, the time after they give birth to a calf when they produce milk. The longer this period, generally, the more milk they can give. On the other hand, the animals used for farm labor are called draft animals. They are essential for various manual tasks on the farm. To keep these animals healthy and productive, regular brushing is important. It helps remove dirt and loose hair, which can prevent skin infections and keep the animals comfortable. Additionally, the design of the cattle shed is crucial. The floor should be sloping to stay dry and make cleaning easier. Proper shelter not only ensures the animals' well-being, but also enhances their productivity. Overall, cattle farming is a vital part of our agricultural economy, blending animal care, farm productivity, and resource management seamlessly. Today, let's talk about feeding animals, which is a crucial aspect of their health and productivity. There are two main types of food we need to consider. First, there's the maintenance requirement, which is the basic nutrition animals need to stay healthy and live a normal, active life. This includes all the essential nutrients they need on a daily basis. The second type is the milk-producing requirement, which becomes especially important during lactation. When animals are producing milk, they need additional nutrients to support that process and ensure both their health and milk quality. Now, moving on to what animal feed actually includes, we primarily have two categories. The first is roughage, which is high in fiber. Fiber is vital because it helps with digestion and keeps the gut healthy. Think of roughage as the bulk of their diet that keeps everything running smoothly. The second category is concentrates, which are rich in proteins and other nutrients. These are more energy-dense foods that help animals grow, reproduce, and produce milk efficiently. And a quick note about animal health. Healthy animals tend to feed regularly and maintain a normal posture, which is a good indicator that they are in good condition and receiving the right nutrition. So, in summary, understanding these two types of food and their components helps us ensure that animals are properly nourished for their specific needs, whether just to stay healthy or to produce milk efficiently. Let's talk about health management now. External parasites, such as ticks and mites, live on the skin and can cause a variety of skin diseases. These parasites are visible and often cause irritation or discomfort, so managing them is crucial for animal health. Then we have internal parasites, like worms, which affect the stomach and intestines, leading to poor digestion and weight loss. Flukes, a type of parasitic flatworm, are particularly damaging because they target the liver, impairing the animal's overall health and productivity. Vaccinations play a vital role in health management as well. They are given to protect animals against major viral and bacterial diseases, which can spread quickly and cause serious outbreaks. Overall, maintaining health involves controlling parasites and ensuring proper vaccination, which together help keep livestock healthy, productive, and resilient against diseases. Poultry farming involves raising domestic fowl, primarily for egg production and meat. It's a vital part of our agricultural practices, providing nutritious food and supporting livelihoods. One interesting aspect we focus on is crossbreeding programs, especially between Indian Asil and foreign Leghorn breeds. The goal here is to develop new varieties with specific desirable traits. For instance, we aim to improve the number and quality of chicks, which directly impacts productivity. Tolerance to high temperatures is also crucial, especially in our climate, ensuring the birds remain healthy and productive even in hot conditions. Another key trait is the size of the animals. Crossbreed animals are kept smaller, but still able to thrive on low-cost, fibrous diets made from agricultural byproducts. This makes poultry farming more sustainable and economical. We also focus on dwarf broiler females, which produce 100% of the normal chicks, meaning no loss in hatchability. Plus, these birds require low maintenance, making them ideal for efficient farming systems. All these efforts tie back to our overall theme of enhancing productivity and sustainability in poultry farming, ensuring it remains a viable and profitable practice. When it comes to egg and broiler production, a lot of care goes into ensuring the health and quality of the birds. We aim to keep mortality rates very low, ideally between 1 and 5%, because every bird counts. Equally important is maintaining the quality of the meat, which means paying close attention to carcass quality throughout the process. To do this, proper management of the housing environment is essential. That includes controlling temperature to keep the birds comfortable and maintaining high hygienic standards to prevent disease and pest outbreaks. Speaking of health, disease control is a critical component. Vaccinations play a vital role in reducing losses during outbreaks and keeping the flock healthy. Diet is another key factor. The daily feed, the ration, needs to be rich in protein and contain enough fat to support growth and development. We also keep vitamins A and K levels high in poultry feeds because these nutrients are crucial for maintaining overall health and productivity. All these measures, environment control, disease prevention, nutrition, are interconnected and contribute to the overall success of the production system. When we combine these practices, we ensure healthier birds, better meat quality, and more sustainable production outcomes. Now let's talk about fish production, which includes not only the finned true fish, those with fins and gills, but also shellfish like prawns and mollusks. There are two main ways to produce fish. One is through capture fishing, where we rely on natural resources to catch wild fish and shellfish. The other method is fish farming, also known as aquaculture or culture fishery, where we cultivate aquatic organisms in controlled environments. Aquaculture is essentially the controlled cultivation of aquatic plants and animals, allowing us to meet the rising demand for seafood while managing the sustainability of our marine and freshwater resources. This balance between capture fishing and aquaculture is crucial for maintaining healthy fish stocks and supporting the global seafood industry, aligning with our overall theme of sustainable resource management. Let's take a closer look at marine fisheries. India has an extensive coastline stretching about 7,500 kilometers, along with deep seas beyond it, which are vital for our fishing industry. When we talk about fish varieties, we see a rich diversity including pomfret, mackerel, tuna, sardines, and even Bombay duck. These species form the backbone of our marine fisheries and support millions of livelihoods. To improve yields and ensure sustainable fishing, we are increasingly using advanced technology like satellites and echo sounders. These tools help us locate fish more efficiently and manage our resources better. Overall, the combination of our vast coastline, diverse fish species, and innovative technology highlights the importance of marine fisheries in our economy and food security. Inland fisheries encompass a variety of water bodies, including canals, ponds, reservoirs, and rivers, which are essential habitats for many fish species. Additionally, there are brackish water resources, where seawater and freshwater mix, such as estuaries and lagoons. These areas are particularly productive because they support diverse aquatic life and are vital for local fishing communities. An interesting aspect of inland fisheries is fish culture, which is sometimes combined with rice cultivation. In these cases, fish are grown in the water of paddy fields, creating a symbiotic system where rice and fish benefit from each other. This integration helps optimize resource use and boosts food production, aligning with our overall goal of sustainable and efficient fisheries management. Now, let's look at composite fish culture systems, which are a great way to make fish farming more intensive and efficient. In these systems, we use both local and imported fish species together in a single pond. The idea is to combine 5 or 6 different species that don't compete for the same food sources, thanks to their different feeding habits. For example, catlas are surface feeders, so they eat near the top of the water. Rohis feed in the middle zone, while wriggles and common carps are bottom feeders, focusing on what's at the pond's bottom. Grass carps, on the other hand, feed on weeds, helping control aquatic plants naturally. An important point to remember is that many of these fish breed mainly during the monsoon season. A common challenge in fish farming is the availability of good quality seed. That is, healthy young fish to stock the ponds. To address this, fish are often bred in controlled pond environments using hormonal stimulation, which helps activate their reproductive cells and improve breeding success. Overall, composite fish culture systems are a smart way to maximize pond productivity, utilize different feeding zones, and ensure sustainable fish farming, especially when combined with proper breeding techniques. Let's talk about beekeeping, which is an accessible activity for many farmers because it requires relatively low investments. It's not only a way to earn extra income, but also a source of beeswax, which is quite valuable and used in various medicinal preparations. When it comes to the bees themselves, different species are used depending on the purpose. For commercial honey production, the most commonly used bees are Apis cerana indica, also known as the Indian bee, dorsata or the rock bee, and Flori, the little bee. However, the most popular for large-scale honey production is the mellifera, or the Italian bee. Why? Well, Italian bees are excellent at collecting honey. They have a high honey collection capacity. They tend to sting less, which makes managing them easier, and they stay in a single hive for longer periods, which is beneficial for honey harvesting. Plus, they breed very well, ensuring a steady supply of bees. To produce honey commercially, beekeepers establish bee farms or apiaries. But it's important to remember that the quality and taste of honey heavily depend on the flowers available to the bees, what we call pasturage. The types of flowers in the area influence the flavor profile of the honey, making each honey unique based on its floral source. So, in essence, the kind of flowers the bees visit determines the taste of the honey, and this highlights the importance of good flower availability and diversity for high-quality honey production. Beekeeping, therefore, combines biology, agriculture, and a bit of artistry to create a valuable product.